Hi, welcome to our CWTC Get Connected Community Podcast to share experiences, promote services and networking and great opportunities available for residents of Oldham. Research on genes and health in diverse communities is crucial for creating inclusive healthcare solutions. Different genetic backgrounds can influence disease risks and responses to treatments. So studying these variations help us understand unique health challenges faced by specific populations. To enlighten us more, we have invited at our CWTC podcast studio Rumbidzai Gore from Northern Care Alliance and Innovation Department. Rumbi, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm okay, thank you.
Yeah, good. So we have a lot to talk about on your fantastic research. Yeah, okay, good. Before we do that, can you tell us about your career, your education, and how you got involved with this?
Yes, so I went to university straight from my A-levels. I went to Stirling, which is like in the central belt of Scotland.
Yeah.
I did 4 years there, and then after that I worked on a renal ward and sort of gained some clinical nursing experience.
Oh, good.
While I was doing my nursing training, I had a placement where I gained a little bit of research exposure, and I sort of, through that placement, realised that it was where I wanted to work.
Yes.
I was really interested by how we find new treatments, how those are tested out.
Yes.
So I sort of knew that that was the career for me.
Okay.
When I qualified as a nurse.
Enjoy that.
Yeah. Yes, so after I gained my clinical experience on the renal ward, I saw a job opening in community research, and I thought that was where I was best placed, so I applied for the job and was very fortunate to receive the role on this team.
It's great, isn't it? You get a job where you really enjoy.
Yes.
And importantly, to help out other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Okay, so tell us, how does studies and research benefit the community?
So when we do research, we're trying to find new treatments, as well as testing to see whether or not the treatments we're currently using actually work, how effective they are, and whether or not there are other more effective treatments. That's sort of on a medicinal level. We also have other studies that sort of look a little bit more at well-being, what we can do to improve well-being in the workplace, what we can do to sort of improve staff well-being. There's a vast range of studies that we conduct, but ultimately it's all aimed at improving health and well-being for all the people that we provide care for.
And it's about addressing those disparities as well.
Exactly, and that's a key
and
thing. And
understanding different communities.
Exactly, that's a key thing that this study that we're going to be doing, or the study that I'm going to be speaking to you about, looks at. Yeah,
and upon finding these studies, it's about, as you said, improving the health and well-being, and it's about different health choices as well. So tell us a bit more about this particular study that you're doing now.
So Genes in Health is a large-scale community study. It's one of the world's largest community-based genetic studies.
So we are privileged to have you here to be able to, promote the good work you're doing.
Yes, so the study itself is being run by Queen Mary University London.
Okay.
And it started in 2017 in East London, and they've now opened up more sites. So they have ourselves, we're working as Manchester Genes and Health, covering all of Greater Manchester, but my team have a specific focus on Salford, Rochdale, Oldham and Bury. And this study is looking at health in people of Pakistani and Bangladeshi heritage.
Why in particular Pakistani and Bangladesh?
So they've looked and they've seen that there's a high rate of certain diseases within this population group. So high rates of things like diabetes and heart disease, high cholesterol. So we're now trying to see, and sort of having spoken to people, some people say, well, it's cultural, it's sort of lifestyle, and that's why we have these high rates of these specific diseases. But this study is actually trying to look to see whether or not there's a genetic predisposition to developing certain conditions. So that's why there's been a focus specifically on this population group.
And then it's about developing the new treatments.
Exactly.
When you've done your findings.
Yes.
Brilliant. I know we're trying to help, particularly through our CWTC and especially through the Wellbeing Cafe, in which you'll be attending this week.
Yes.
So we're grateful for that. So I'm sure, like other many Asian organizations, who has Pakistani and Bangladeshi community. They can be supported through this research as well. Brilliant. So in terms of the diversity within your community research, why is that important?
Well, because of the population that we cover, Oldham actually is quite a diverse area, and the research that we do needs to reflect that. We can't do research and sort of look at a very small group of people and then say
it has to be for everybody
and say that it applies to everyone, because that may not be the case. So we need to be really diverse in our approach to the research that we're doing, and ensuring that everyone that we actually provide care for within Oldham, within Bury, within Rochdale, that those people are represented in the research that we're doing, and that our results are representative of the community and the population that we serve.
And it is about that quality in a way, and it's inclusive health solutions as well.
Yeah, and making sure that the services that we provide are equitable, that everyone has access to the same level and standard of healthcare, including access to research as well.
Excellent. And how is the progress going so far?
So the study has a goal of recruiting 100,000 people, and we're currently sitting at about 63,000 people.
Excellent. And how long has that taken to get to that stage?
So it's been open since 2017, so 7 years now.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think it's a bit slow? Or is it going smoothly?
I think it's going quite smoothly. It's quite a large number of people, all things considered.
Well, hopefully through this podcast you're going to get
many more.
Many inundated with the calls and, for you to attend the sessions. So what is the process when you actually attend a workshop or information session? What happens?
So the study itself, it's quite a light touch study. So for the participants, we'd only see them once for this stage, which is called stage 1, and it involves two quick questionnaires, so a consent form and a quick questionnaire. We don't ask that many questions. It will take 5 at most 10 minutes to complete, and then the donation of a small saliva sample. So this is used to look at the genetics, to, like I mentioned earlier, to see if there is a genetic link behind why there are high rates of these diseases within the community, as well as also looking at the treatments that we're providing and whether or not, in terms of genetics, they actually align with the genetics of the people given these medications.
When they actually give this saliva, do you see the results immediately, or are we told afterwards what the outcomes are?
So in terms of when you give the saliva sample, because it's a large scale study, we're looking at community genetics as a whole rather than individual. So individuals may get results back if once the samples go to labs for testing, they find something of concern within the saliva sample, within the genetic code. If you're otherwise healthy, you won't get results back per se. But all the results altogether will sort of be grouped together to see what health looks like in the community as a whole.
Excellent. And these figures are very important to go further in terms of development and treatments.
Yes, they are.
And so people really need to support this research and get involved. In terms of the translations as well, I know when you will be coming to us, we'll be helping with the translation as they did. But what if people don't have translations? What is the process then?
So this is something that we've looked at as an organisation, and we now have in place translators that can be booked. So as long as there's advance notice, we can ensure that we have translators available, so that we are, like I'm saying, because we're looking at a very specific group of people, we need to be able to reach out to them and speak to them in a language that they do understand, and make sure that we're relaying information in a way that they do understand. So as a trust, we do have translators available as and when needed to help.
You've got everything at hand.
Yes.
Well done. In terms of the data information, people always feel about their information being skewed.
Yes.
We know all about GDPR.
Yes.
So what are the protection protocols in place?
It's a very valid concern, especially when you're giving a saliva sample and you're almost giving away some of your genetic material as well. So for every participant, for everyone that decides to take part, they get allocated what's called a participant ID number or study ID number. So then that helps keep them almost anonymous, and it keeps their personal information confidential.
Good.
So once you've donated your sample, you're then known essentially by a number as opposed to many people having access to your full name. In terms of the actual data that we saw and the samples themselves, they're all kept in a locked room within a locked building, and the only people that can access those are people that work on the study. So even people working within the organisation on other studies or in other teams wouldn't be able to access that information.
Good. The long-term impact of the study.
Yes.
I know it's all about developing further treatments, identifying specific community. What would you suggest, or what information have you got in the long-term impact of the study?
So far we've now, looking at stage 2 of the study, there have been studies that have been looking at medications and how effective they are. So there's one medication we found in about 57% of people of South Asian heritage that there's a gene that means that drug isn't activated, so it's not as effective when people of South Asian heritage take this medication. So what the study is now looking at is trying to see which medications are actually more effective. And I think that's something really key about this study, is that had we not done this study, had the 63,000 people that have very graciously donated their saliva samples, had they not taken part in the study, we never would have known that information and wouldn't be able to start making changes and looking at newer, more effective medications.
So it is very important that people do take part.
It is.
And if you don't study, and sometimes, with the goodwill of, providing those treatments, developing those treatments, and later on the years they might not be appropriate. So it is about really making a hard study, to enable to have tailored made treatments, really.
Yeah, and even then, I think within that as well, when we're talking about sort of health disparities, when we're looking at data and statistics, we're finding that people of South Asian heritage are sort of having poorer health outcomes. And that's where studies like this are really key, because we're looking at that and we're addressing it, and we're finding ways to ensure that we have equitable health service and that people are having the same outcomes all across the board, regardless of what their ethnicity is.
So this study will be looking at diabetes, heart disease, other diseases as well.
Yes, it's also looking at things like fertility, sort of more rare genetic disorders. It's looking at pretty much everything all across the board.
I think you're doing a wonderful job. Well, the whole organisation is doing a wonderful job to get this study out there. And as you said, it's been 7 years. When do you hope to complete it?
When we reach the 100,000.
It's that 100,000 mark, isn't it?
Yes,
Brilliant.
yeah.
That's the lottery, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. How would people get in contact with you?
So if people would like to get in contact with us, you can send us an email on community.research@nca.nhs.uk. That's an email that quite a few of us have access to. So,
and we will also put it on the podcast as well.
Yeah, so there's quite a few people that have access to that email inbox, so you'll get a response in quite a short period of time.
Excellent. I know you came yesterday to our how to organise the community event.
Yes.
How did you feel about that? How was it?
I found it very informative. I learned quite a lot about sort of how to do an event, how to reach out to the right people to make sure that we're getting the people from the community.
It's understanding your target audience, isn't it?
Exactly,
and the communities that you live in.
Yes.
Good. No, it was very informative myself, learning from other people too.
Yeah. And
they found it very useful. So what do you think of our place here at CWTC?
It's very, you've got a very good setup here. And I think even having looked at having listened to some of your other podcasts, you're doing a lot of work to sort of spread awareness of the services that are available within Oldham, things that are available to people within the community. Like the podcast on the food bank was really, really informative, and you don't realise how many people are reliant on things like that. So you're doing excellent work spreading awareness of these things within the community.
We're hoping to expand on that, and those are the sort of type of groups that you could also visit as well.
Yes.
So we have a lot to do.
Yeah, in terms of networking here as well, we've been able to make a lot of key contacts through yourselves. So thank you very much.
Pleasure. And we look forward to doing a lot of work with you. So please get in touch with Rumbi and ourselves if you need any further information. Also visit our website as well for more opportunities. Hope you found this very useful, and we look forward for your support in this fantastic study. Thank you very much for listening. See you very soon. God bless.